We're talking very briefly about Logcat buffers. Now, it turns out that Logcat segments messages into different buffers. Buffers are just the name they use for where messages are stored. Right? Now, the overwhelming majority of messages go into what's called the main buffer. In fact, most of the time, that's the only thing you're ever going to really care about. Right? Is that all the standard logging functions write to the main buffer? Any messages that you view inside of Eclipse using Logcat are all in the main buffer, and you'll rarely need to go outside of there. But just one thing that's really important to kind of have in the back of your mind when you're dealing with more complex debugging situations. So although most things happen in the main buffer, there are two special buffers. There's the events buffer and the radio buffer. The events buffer allows you to see the system events that are going on. Right? When windows are being opened up, when the operating system is starting things and stopping things, it lets you see that information about what's going on with the system kind of managing everything that's happening. So when you're having a really difficult debugging situation, you can kind of see what the system's doing. The radio buffer is all the radios. Now, if you're not familiar with mobile devices, radios are kind of everything that communicate, right? Wi-Fi networking is really a radio. Right? When you talk about cellular messaging, that's really a radio. So it lets you see all the radio activity, right? So when you see, well, my connection just dropped, or something strange was going on, or I was communicating and suddenly it didn't work anymore, or my communication is really slow, you can look in the radio buffer to see what the radios are doing, what kind of communication is going on there. So you can use these to filter things or view things at a fairly low level in the platform. It's just really good when you're in this kind of stuck scenarios and trying to figure out what's going on. Now, these special buffers are only accessible through the ADB command. You can't view them in Eclipse. The way you get to them is just use ADB, followed by the command logcat. Then you say -b, and which buffer you're interested in, either the events buffer or the radio buffer.